I was drunk. I was taking long steps. Morning was far but near. I lived alone in a house with one room. Yeah, a small beautiful house in a good neighborhood. With heavy trudging steps I entered my house. Everything was blurry. The house looked tilted, and the lights poked my eyes. I switched off the lights and went towards my bedroom. It was upstairs. I tumbled in the way, but still, I reached it. Then I slipped once, and then a second time in order to reach my bed. I didn't care to lock my main gate, as it was a crime-free neighborhood. Still, I locked my room's gate. I undressed, throwing clothes here and there. The shoes didn't seem to come off, but I still managed to remove them. It was cold. I lay on my bed, my eyes were red due to sleep. I was totally drunk. I eventually dozed off after some time. Knock, knock. I woke in hangover. The time on my digital clock was 3:33 a.m. No, it wasn't my main gate. It was my room gate. Someone had knocked on it. With hazy sight, half drunk, half asleep, I looked at the bottom of the door. There was a shadow. I was afraid to open the gate. It was midnight. I mean, who can come at that time? The knock came again, stronger than before. I covered myself with bed sheets and tried to sleep. Within no time, a knock stronger than the others hit my door. It was so strong that the crucifix fell from my wall near it. The knocking kept on coming at equal intervals. I wasn't sober enough to know where my phone was, or either my landline. Suddenly, it all became quiet. Knocking had stopped. It was so silent that I could hear my heart beating. Thud, 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 thud. I was taking deep breaths. Inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. My feet were cold and so were my fingers. As I started to loosen a bit, adapt to the situation, I heard a fierce growl. Grrr. Followed by a howl. This scared me. But then suddenly something hit the glass. The blow was so hard that the lamp on my bedside shook. With every thud, the lamp shook. Suddenly, everything became still again. It felt like all life had fallen asleep, but I was wide awake. I could hear a crow calling in the distance, followed by a sudden downpour, both making sound on my roof. I was still under my sheets, chanting prayers. The rain stopped within no time at all. All I had was a dark room and light coming from the distant streetlight. As I felt scared, these things were making me sober. Drip, 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 drip. I felt the sheet, and it was cold and wet. It looked like something red. I stood up, and it was just water. But when I noticed that someone is still outside my door. He is moving. Their shadow going left to right, then left to right. As he was waiting for me, power cut had occurred. I heard the voice of fizzing wire. Suddenly, I heard nails moving on a surface. My gate. Slowly moving down as I hear. Then again a little bit faster. It kept on coming faster and faster, both the hands joining in. With every scratch, my heart raced. It reached a point where every drop of blood carried fear and adrenaline. Scratching stopped, and I heard thuds from my closet. It's mice, but as it runs, it makes heavy human steps like sound. I was relieved, but my brain signaled me that there is someone outside my door still. It climbed down the stairs and then came up and then down and then up again. His heavy footsteps made the stairs creak. Every time it got louder, I would hide. Every corner of my room was so black that it looked like a creature was lurking in there, waiting for me to sleep. I felt the bed getting cold. The water had soaked into the bed. I could feel my body shiver as my bed started to shake. It was so faint that I wouldn't have heard it if there was no silence. In a certain distance, I heard an ambulance with its siren moving far away, just like the hope of me surviving the night. The bathroom's tap made the noise that I was hearing. The room had been cold in my body. Well, The only hot object in it was losing its power. I heard a cat meowing, telling me that I won't escape. I felt surrounded. I was shivering, cold, and in pain of soon losing my life. Suddenly the door handle started moving, giving a shock to me and a pause to my thoughts. The darkness was limiting my sight, but I still felt the handle moving. As it became violent, I assured myself of locking it. Then, as early as it had started, it ended the same way. I heard a baby laugh soon and then cry. The laugh was evil, and the cry, it was painful. I gave in to the darkness. I won't survive the night. I was surrounded by darkness. Then suddenly, as if this wasn't enough, I heard a scream which was near. So near that it came from my living room. It was like a child screaming after getting beaten by a hunter. It was so terrifying that I lost sense of everything. It echoed through my house. Where I was it another dimension? Was the question that came to my mind. For the next hour, I sat still, waiting for death to come and relieve me. I couldn't tolerate this anymore. At just that moment, a ray of light entered my room. It was the sun. I cried and rejoiced. I saw the clock on my bedside getting visible. I was so scared that I forgot it existed. I was submersed in the suspense of what it was. But now I am happy that I survived the night.